We are live. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I am so sorry. We were having some technical difficulties. We're generally on time, so I apologize. Um, Everyone, Diamond, I'm going to let you jump right into it so we won't hold up more of your time. Everyone, we appreciate your patience.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Please let us know where you are tuning in from today. We see people from Mississippi. We see people from Texas. Where you guys tuning in? Just let us know. Even if you are watching the replay, we want to know in the comments section below. We want to know where everyone is, and we thank you so much.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I,
Hello from Maryland, Michigan, Charlotte, Washington, D.C. Thank y'all so much for your patience. We're going to jump right into the information today.
And tonight, what we're talking about, if you need to increase your credit score, we're going to give you some strategies on how you can do it in 14 days. Now, with why I'm rolling this out, a lot of people are emailing me. You took a hit on your credit scores, especially when it came down to that student loan crisis that recently went on. So, we want to give you some strategies on how to increase your credit score if you need to do it fast. So, we're going to deal with a 14-day window on some realistic steps that you can take to increase your credit score. So, Diamond, I want you to queue up or be ready to queue up the examples. So, number one, we need to know when you're trying to increase your credit score, you need to know what's wrong. So, what is actually wrong with your credit? I use it as the terms we all been in school, grade school, and you have certain subjects that gives you more points towards your GPA or your overall grade at the end of the year. So you're going to have English, science, math. These are heavy hitters that make up your GPA. You might have an elective, it might not have as much weight. And you may also have gym that might not have as much weight. But even with those electives and the gym, if you're 100% dressing on time, this could really help certain places that you're lacking in your GPA, but it's not as effective. It can give you some help. So, just like with your report card, was your score there? So is your credit report. That is your financial grade. So, your financial score. So, you want to know where you're really having an issue so you can focus on that area in order to make up for those points, just like how you were in school. So, equivalent to payment history, which is the biggest part of your score, that may be your equivalent of English. So if you are failing there, even if you're doing good everywhere else, it's going to really bring down your overall grade or your GPA. So that's very important. Secondly, it might be math. Math will be the equivalent of your utilization, debt to available credit. So if you are failing in math, even if you're doing good in English, this is going to dramatically bring down your overall report card or your overall GPA. I mean, GPA, your overall grade average. Okay, so that's the equivalent of utilization, and then you have age of credit. It is the second or the third biggest part of your overall credit score. It's not as important as math or even English, but it might be like science. It still holds a lot of weight, but you want to be able to know if that's the area that's bringing you down so you can improve on that GPA or that grade for that particular class, that science class. So this is how your credit score work. If you don't know where you having a problem in those areas, after that is mix of credit and then new inquiries. So those aren't as important, but you can still see your score not being overall really where it could be if you are failing in those areas. So you want to know what is your problem area. And so you have to do that first so you know how to improve, how what strategy you need to do to go for that 150 points. So in order to find out what's your issue, you have to look at your credit scores. You need to look and analyze and decipher, where am I being pulled down in my credit score? Now, with my elite credit system, it pretty much does it for you. So they import the credit scores and it'll list all your negative items. So it kind of make it easier for you for that process. If you have a real good eye and understanding of credit, you can do that yourself. You can go to Experian and try to decipher it yourself, but you might not could pick up all the errors. And I'm quite sure it took me, when I used to sit down with people, a good hour to go through all their accounts and to go across the board with Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax to see where the inconsistencies are. It took me a lot of time. So if you can't pick that up with the elite credit system, it does that for you within 2 minutes. So it will really list your items. So that is one of the things you want to really look at. Diamond, can you pull up those examples on how that actually looks with the elite credit system?
Yes. Give me one second. I think I'm having a little bit of a technical issue.
Well, if not, we're just going to move on so we don't time up. But they can pretty much understand, it just does the process for you. Now, the next part that you want to, once you guys know what is the issue, what's bringing down your score in those categories, make sure that you look at those negatives that you see. So you went through, you found your issue. So say if you're a person that you have a collection or a charge off, the next thing you need to look at, you want to make sure that that charge off or that collection is not dinging you late every month. Now, this is the example of the elite credit system. Here's how it show you all your negative items. It pretty much lines it up for you. So that's how it will line it up. And Diamond, go to the next photo if you can, and it'll show the where it shows the your problem and actually what prompt for it to pick, because it automatically pick up how to dispute for you. So it pretty much makes it pretty much seamless on that. So once you determine that, the system pretty much create the letter for you in that category. Or if you can pull up, yeah, and this is where it'll show you right here. It's a collection charge off, and it'll pretty much give you the reason itself. So it's pretty much automatic for you with the system. It'll create and it'll find the error and what way to dispute. Now go to the slide with showing the lates, where it shows the CO. So we can show you what, if you're doing it, what you need to look for. Go to the next one.
Give me 1 second. It's just taking me 2 seconds. I have to do a lot to.
Oh, okay, to bring it up. So when you guys review your negative accounts, like the example, it pulled up the charge off. Look at if you're on Experian and then you go to Equifax and TransUnion. Look at if you have a charge off. Make sure it's not dinging you late every month. If you see a CO or a C, they're hitting you with a late payment pretty much every month. Now, here's the thing. You want to check all three for that account. This is the example here. This is like Experian. If you guys are see that C, this is hitting you, they're hitting you with a late every month. And the reason why they're doing that is to keep your credit score down. Because if you have that collection or charge off and it's not doing this, what happens is your score after 90 days of that initial hit, as long as this stop reporting and you let 90 days go by, which is 3 months, your score starts to go up. So it is possible to have a collection on your credit report and have a 730 credit score. If it has been there for over 2 years or even in 6 months, you'll see your score go up as long as another negative item don't hit you. Anytime though you get a negative reporting, like a late payment, or if you have an account that's behind, say you're behind on your car payment, you cannot increase your credit score if something is reporting late every month. So you have to stop this from happening. Can you go to the next slide so they can, I know it takes a lot to see some examples. This is what you guys got to look for, because you can't even begin to get your score up if this is not happening. If this is happening, you might see something like this. This is another example. If y'all seeing this on that app. Now, with the last one, collections should not be reporting late every month. It's a collection. It's already it went from a charge off status to already be sold. A collection is a collection. It can't report late every month. That's a violation. Now, a charge off you can dispute, but you may see a late every month, but you can dispute that because if it's charged off, there shouldn't be expected of a monthly payment every month that I'm late for. So you want to make sure that that account is not doing this to you. Some of you guys that's saying, why isn't my credit going up? I've been doing everything. If you got a charge off or some kind of collection account, go through it and see if it's doing this. Because you might even see, hey, my experience is like 50 points lower or much lower than my Equifax. It's like way higher. What it could be, this same account on Experian is doing this, but on Equifax is not reporting like this. It hits you all at one time, and Equifax is not reporting it, or TransUnion is not hitting you late like this every month. Generally, if you're going to see this, I generally see it on Experian that it does this a lot, but check all of them. So every negative, check if it's reporting like that. You got to go with each credit bureau. So it is tedious, but if you guys are seeing like, yo, my score is going up, I'm doing everything, I don't understand, my utilization is good, here's the problem. And like I said, a lot of times you're going to see something like this. You see where I said Experian doing it, does this a lot? That's what it is. Just right here. CO. You'll have Equifax. Okay. You will have TransUnion with nothing reporting. But for some reason, Experian do this, and it's not some reason. They know if they don't report like that, your scores start to go up. So what it is, it's a level of harassment to make you pay to stop this from reporting it like that. Because if they don't report it like that, your score go up and you're not incentivized. So make sure your negatives, look if it's doing this. So if you don't stop that, or if you have an open account like your auto account and it's late, Don't even try to boost your score until you just go ahead and pay it. You got a credit card account that's over 30 days late and it's hitting you, just go on and pay that, because you will not heal your credit score if you got something reporting late every month. So hopefully we got that clear. So now we're going to move on how, if you, as long as, and if it's a collection or a charge off, long as it's not, say it's blank like this, if you looked at all three bureaus and it's blank like this, you good to go. Long as it's not hitting you late every month, you are good to go. But if you got, you, the reason why you got to check all three for that same account, as you see here, this is okay. With Equifax, Experian is reporting CO. It's not okay. And Equifax, I mean, TransUnion isn't reporting late payments. This is a violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, because in order for them to be able to report it, it has to be 100% accurate and 100% complete. These are three different types of reporting status. That's different. So that's not accurate. It's all coming from one source, which is Citibank in this case. In this example, it's all coming from Citibank. So how is Citibank telling TransUnion a different story, then Equifax a different story, and a different story to Experian when it's coming from one source? So that's not accurate. So you want to dispute it on the inaccuracy. But it is very important, you guys, to go through all three accounts so you can find it to then challenge it on that. But like I said, with the elite credit system, I'll be honest, it just pulls this up for you in 3 minutes instead of you tediously going through it. And I'll be honest, I used to spend an hour with people going through each account. Now it's been so much with my consultations. That's why if with me in a one-on-one, you need to be a part of the elite credit system, because it's, I could charge less because it's not taking so much time. It's pretty much doing the work I had to physically do and take an hour to go through. So now that you got that in line, now here's the next step. Now you already determined where my problem is. Say your account now, you could take this down, Diamond. It's not reporting late. Even though there's a negative, it's not reporting late. You might have a charge off, but it's not dinging you every month. You might have a collection. It's sitting there. It's not hitting you every month. If it's like that, you're good. Now, once it hits you, if it long as not hitting you every month, you could, that negative could stay there and you can boost your credit score. Okay. But the problem is if it's hitting every month. But if you're a person that got that, you reviewed those negatives, it's not hitting you every month, you could go straight to this part, just to be clear. So the first thing you can do to help improve your credit score, you want to look at utilization. Utilization is the second biggest chunk of your credit score, but it's pretty much, to me, really more important than payment history. They're neck and neck. A lot of people focus on negatives. Like I just gave in that example, you can have a negative where you report it late one time, but as long as you don't continue on, your score starts to heal as time go on. Okay, so it's not, it just initially bring your score down once it hits you for the next 60 days from that point. So once that happened, you can see your score go up. The problem is your utilization. Utilization changes every month. So if you're looking to increase your credit score, first, I tell people focus on that utilization. Look at that, because it change up and down every single month. It is not consistent. So Generally, if you want to get those points, you want to increase your credit score, because a lot of people say focus on disputing payment history, but it's 35% of your credit score, but they forget utilization is 30. It's only a 5% difference. And utilization is the fastest way to increase your credit score and the fastest way to take it. Baby, down. Thank you, Miss Murray. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate the support. Thank you. Shout out to you. So thank you so much for helping sponsor this live. I appreciate it. So when you look at that, go to your utilization first. It might sound odd. You might have never heard anybody that talk about credit tell you that, because a lot of them, they're gonna get most of their profit off of talking about disputing. That's why a lot of y'all did credit repair and it didn't work for you, because they are disputing focus, because that's how they get paid. So their interest is not to get your credit score up, because you'll stop paying for my subscription. My focus with a credit repair company is to just keep disputing, because you're going to pay me every month for that. So a lot of times they don't give you that education. They focus on disputing. You really focus on that utilization. And what you want to do is look at your credit cards. So if you don't know, you can increase your credit score by really 100 points or even more within 4 days. Okay. The key is looking at that credit card, targeting the one with the most utilization, and paying it in a certain time frame. So example, say you have a Discover credit card. That Discover credit card due date, we're not talking about statement cycles. We're saying payment due date. So when it says pay by this date, it is saying on your credit card statement by the first of the month for that Discover card. With that due date, 4 days preceding that due date is the report date. That is when that credit card company report that balance to the credit bureaus. That's when it's going to show on your credit report. So when you guys pay that credit card down, you need to pay it down by the first in this example, and make sure you do not use that card until that card show and that balance up on that credit report after that 4 days. Because what happens is, once that happened, that's not going to update for the next 30 days. So if you miss that window of time and that balance, that's done. You're stuck now. You got to wait till next month. So the good part about it is, once it report to the credit bureau, you can max that card out again. They will never, until the next cycle and pay it off before that, they will never see it. Because with credit card reporting, for the next 30 days, it can't show up because on how credit cards cycle. So you, with that Discover card, by the first of the month, where that due date is on the first, pay that down. Do not use that card at all once you pay it down. So if it was a $4,000 balance, I paid $2,000 on it. And now I said, hey, now I need to charge this TV. If you do it on the third and you go buy a $2,000 TV and now you back at $4,000, they don't care. They're going to report on that $4,000. It used to work like that, where you would like, hey, I made the payment, and they won't report that. They ain't doing that no more. Honey, if you use that card in between there, whatever is on there in those little 4 days is going to show up. If you go and use that card again, right on that credit report. Okay. So that's how y'all are getting hit up. And a lot of y'all, I pay my card all the time. If you're missing that date, it's never showing up your payment because you're paying it after that window of time. So say you pay it, but you pay it by the 6th, and it's technically on time. Like, I'm technically not 30 days late. I don't have a late payment. And that's how some of y'all are, because your pay period. Just can't do it. And you keep saying, well, I don't never know why my score is not going up. That could be your problem. You're missing it in that window of time. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, Miss Miller, thank you so much for this $10 super sticker. I really appreciate that. She is a member of my elite credit system, and she give awesome information. She is just a pleasure to have in the group. And we had a awesome session today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Miss Miller. I appreciate you. And if you guys can, just make sure you hit the like button for us so we can get this out. So, Diamond, can you pull up the examples so we can show them? So, what you want to do with your credit cards, you guys, make sure if you catch that window, you can see if that card is maxed out or over that balance of what your credit line is. It could be tanking your credit score to the floor. You might right now. And like I said, that example, the video part, I had a client that pause that, worked with recently, and this person had perfect payment history. They just had their utilization, pretty much their cards maxed out. And this particular person, credit score was showing up like a 580, but they never had any missed late payments. And I told them, I said, oh, because they're part of the system. No, this is your problem right here. You got to pay these cards down. They paid that card down when they reported in the cycle that was broken down here. Honey, they was at 829 credit score. So y'all could really have good credit. It's your utilization that's tanking your credit score. So of all things, you guys, if you can't pay that credit card down, do not get discouraged, because you seeing like I'm paying the minimum and I'm still at 580. Listen, you just might need to just pay that card down. Don't just keep paying the minimum, okay? Because once you pay it down, your score might really just be at, like that person was at an 829. So you just got to understand, you might not just understand what's going on with your score. That's why I said it's important to know what's going on in your with your score. And right there, it could be 150 points, just like that. That 150 points might just be with that alone. And Diamond, play this really quick. And the person in my system and everybody that use this is the elite credit system, how you get there. And we use smart credit, and they have score boost. So what this kind of do for you, as you can see, it's a 638 credit score. And this is taking in all your credit cards and your utilization. And it will show you by the payment of that what your score should really be. So that person was at a 630, but they really should be at a 717. And this lays out for you, depending on how much money, as you can see, the Citibank card, if they pay the amount that they have listed here, it'll break it down for you. They got 40 points on this card. And it actually tell you, you pay by, and here is September 9th. And this is an old example, 2023. That's where they need to pay that down. That's going to be that due date, and it'll show you the report date. Score will update, and it shows them right here. And it's going to be a September 12th, and it will do the work for you. So you just, as the bars say up there, how much ever money that you have, it'll show you where to put your money on your credit card and what date, what buy. So it's that simple. It breaks it down for you, and it'll show you which card, just like here, the Capital One, you got 34 points, and it'll break down how much to pay and how many points you get. So This kind of do that for you. Now, you could shut that off, Diamond. If you are doing it yourself, right? And so you want to pay just like in that example, it shows you. Now Experian, if you're doing yourself, it won't show you, or it's gonna hard you can't figure out how many points. You're just gonna wing it. But what you would do with all your credit cards, call the credit card company and ask them for that month, what is the report date? Because you have different days of the month that cycle. Sometimes that update date, it's going to cycle differently. It's not going to be consistent all the time. So example, in April there's 30 days, but you have some months is 31 days in that month, and then you might have like in February 28 days, or it could be 29 days. So for you to that update date will rotate. Now the system just shows you for you. It shows you automatically. But for you to know that window, I'm giving you a way that you can gauge it, is generally in 4 days. Okay, generally, but you can't take that as a gospel. I'm just giving you a gauge for all. Okay, I'm just giving you a measurement on where you can like eye it. If you can, it's generally going to be 4 days after. But for you to really know, you need to call that credit card company, and you pay each card in that window of time. Let it update. You'll see your score increase. Boom. If it's maxed out, you need to get that down. Now, you start to lose points individually, because some of y'all have this going on. I have worked with people. This is what they had going on. Their utilization there on Experian will say 10%. It's overall, my utilization is 10%. Why is my score that low? I don't get it. I worked with somebody, and the problem was with that person, they had like a First Premier credit card. It was just an older credit card they had, and they had $300, but they had bigger lines of credit. And for some reason, I guess when they pulled the card out of their wallet, they used that card. And it might have been a $300 limit, and they happened to pay for something like $280. They just didn't know. So it was like, hey, I'll just use this card. Because that card got so close to being maxed out, it would drop your score. So make sure you look at your lines of credit, you guys. Any card that start to get over that 50% mark, even individually, you start losing points. And if that card is over 7%, 70%, individual card, you'll see your score drop, and you don't know why. You like, what in the world is saying 10%? I get this question. I sit down with members all the time, and they like, it's not. And some of y'all, this is answering your questions right now. You're like, hold on. I have had people, my utilization stay low. Make sure you're not using those baby cards. Okay, if you got bigger credit lines, always try to charge on the larger line. Some of you guys' problem is you got too many baby credit cards. Okay, it's like all the cards that I got is only like $300 and $500, so it don't give you really much when you put it on it. You're almost, overutilizing that card. So if that is you, what we can do is if you, like I said, in the system, we can sit down and get a strategy on how you in particularly, we need to get you larger credit card lines. And that's another thing that we'll do. And Miss Miller will tell you, I'll strategize. I can look at it and say, well, if your score is here, you need to go over here. One of them for everybody, just to throw it out there, if you're going through that, I always recommend Apple. Apple right now, you might get in there with a 600 credit score, and that's a soft pull pre-approval. All right. So you could check that and they'll let you know what your limit is, your tentative limit, pre-approved limit is, and that might give you guys, that might give you guys that opportunity to stop having those baby cards. But it's a strategy to get to those larger lines. And if you need help in that category, we can go through that. But that needs to be with me sitting down individually. What's your best company? Okay. Because that could be what's destroying your credit score. And why I said it needs to be individually, we need to go over what's on your profile history. Because understand with credit cards, a lot of you guys, while you're getting denied, you got to know underwriting rules. So certain banks is just going to be a no. Okay. It's because they're underwriting rules. One of those banks, great is a Chase. A lot of y'all, if I have a 850 credit score, if you have an 850 credit score, no late payments, and you go to Chase and you have in the last 2 years got 6 new credit card lines, it's a no. They got a hardcore, it's called a 524 rule. They do not care what your credit score is. If you got more than 5 new credit lines in 24 months, 2 years, it's a no. Discover underwriting rules. If you say, hey, I love Discover, I just got a credit card 6 months ago and my credit score is good, and maybe I should get another card from them. And you can have an 850 credit card. In that case, you go over there, apply. No. Hold on. Why? What do you mean? Because Discover underwriting rules, they only allow you to have 1 new card every 12 months. And if you get that second card, that's it. They don't let you have more than 2 cards. So a lot of y'all, that's why I said we have to go through it, because depending on your case, you need direction where you go. Okay. And that's individually. Okay. So I know that might sound complicated, but baby, it is. That's why you got to learn. That's why I tell you guys, honestly and truthfully, if you got denied, a lot of people said, I applied for this card and I was surprised they gave it to you. Y'all in the group already know, look, I'm going to look at you. Shame on you. You should not be applying for any card. You should be surprised when you got denied, because you're supposed to aim for cards that you know good and well that you're going to take me. Okay. Because if that's not your strategy, you're doing it wrong. Okay. You are doing it way too wrong. And one of those strategies is this, just like I showed you, Miss Miller will tell you in the group, a lot of y'all get so caught up and I'm a strategist, right? You're disputing. I'm disputing. I want business credit. Business credit is a higher standard for your scores to be clean for business credit. But it's not the end all be all. A lot of times people dispute, something might come off of or their Equifax. We had people in 1 month, Equifax get clean. Lou was one of those people. Equifax got clean maybe in 3 months. So what do? And it'll be people, but it's not coming off a TransUnion Experian. Well, what we do is leverage Equifax. You see what I'm saying? Like you then, okay, let's sit down. Okay, well, I direct you, go to this bank, go to that bank. They pull exclusively from Equifax. So he still had a little credit issue over here in Experian, but he got business credit from Truist because they pull exclusively from Equifax. And we still rocking and rolling and disputing. You got to think outside the box. You see what I mean? And I know people don't tell you that, because they telling you, let me keep it real with you. A lot of these people is listening to what other people say about credit that y'all hearing, and they don't know nothing about credit. You get what I'm saying? They don't really know. They, number one, they're not investors, so they really don't even know how the banking system work. They're just parroting what everybody else is saying just to get a bag to fool you. That's really what it is. Okay, I'm going to just keep it real. So they'll come over here and listen to so and so, what was said, and this one. But this is why I break down strategy. Okay, we not waiting all day. And one thing we're going to do, if you're dealing with me, we don't we're not crying. You know what I'm saying? We make money, we don't make excuses. So one thing, even Miss Miller tell you, I don't just cry about negatives, just like, oh, this is that. Well, let's leverage what's going on. What, so we got this clean. What we gonna do with this? So don't always look so negative minded. Why don't we access the positive? Yeah, but hold on, baby. Let's work on, well, what can we do with this? We don't need to stand still. That's all I'm saying. We don't stand still. Well, baby, you got this cleaned up. So what you gonna do with that? So my motto is this. I don't tell y'all at the end of the day, let me keep it real. I already tell y'all all the time, forget that 850 credit score. If you ain't hitting the ground by 720 or 740 to make that money, or to leverage that credit to make money for you, you're hustling backwards, because you can't die. You die with an 850 credit score and go to the grave. See how good that work out for your kids. That 850 credit score ain't gonna help them inherit nothing. They can't inherit an 850 credit score. The challenge for you, if you get to 740, you're getting the same interest rates for somebody with 850. And a lot of people get caught up because you're sitting around certain friends and you just want to floss to tell them that I got 850. I honestly and truthfully, it's not really a flex if it ain't benefiting you. If you working just as hard when you had a 580 credit score with an 850, what we doing? What we doing? That's all I'm just saying. Your challenge is to make that credit score work for you. And you can't, I'll tell y'all over and over again, you cannot work for the rest of your life. You need to get assets, not liabilities, to work for you. That's what you want to do. You want to get a plan. If I'm at a 720 credit score, I'm trying to move over to the business credit side. I'm not, what I'm telling y'all about this personal credit. No, I'm, hold on, Sherry. How we, okay, I'm good now. How can I get that business credit side so it don't show up on my credit report? And now I ain't got to do this yo-yo of utilization because it ain't showing up on me. You gotta, and that's why I said it's not your fault. It's that you're not getting the information, people, how they're it to you. It's not strategy. That's what I'm going to tell you. It's not strategy. Okay. It's about talking points, but I'm giving you game and strategy. It's levels to things, and it sure ain't chasing no 850 credit score. That's not, no. You get to a 720 and get to work. That's what you want to do. Actually, baby, get to a 680 and come see me. Okay, let's work. Okay, get to the 700 and let's work. We good to go. Okay, so that should be the strategy in your life. How can I leverage that? How can I leverage now this, get access to business credit? Can I start a business? Can I fund something? Can I get a home? Can I get a rental property? Can, whatever your niche in life, your knowledge, how can we now use this business credit to access that, to create either a business or something, so you don't have to work as hard? That's the goal. So it's also want to help you with this category, this utilization. Put those lines over there on that business side. Now you don't never have to worry about utilization ever. Okay, because it's always going to be tucked over there. Y'all want to buy that house? I got too much credit card debt. Business credit, business credit, you took it over there. Sweep it under the rug. So this, like I said, that's really how you supposed to leverage. This is how you supposed to move. Don't chase no 850. It's great. Okay. Hey, wow, I got 850. But they ain't the end all be all. If it ain't working for you, if it ain't making your life better, making sure that I'm paying less in interest, or actually it's generating me some kind of income every month, that should be your strategy. That it should make your life better. So that's what you want to look at. First, look at that utilization and try to cure that problem. That utilization strategy I just gave you guys, a lot of that's that's your 150 points, are darn sure I see people it be 100 points if your setup is looking like that right there. Now moving on to the next, say okay, I got that, but Sherry, I'm only at 80 points at this point. Okay, let's look at your payment history. One of the ways that you can take care of that payment history strategy, you got a lot of bad payments. A lot of y'all spin your wheels chasing down a late payment over 3 years ago. Do you know after 24 months, it's really not a late payment, really ain't affecting you that much? You can move on to business credit, to be honest, as long as it's 24 months old. Why? Going on what I told y'all from the beginning. Once a negative hits you, as long as it's not hitting you every month, as time go on, it's less and less. It's less and less precedent on your credit score. So once it get over 24 months, a lot of y'all be chasing late payments when you don't need to. If it's after 24 months old, should you be chasing it? So what you could do instead, for a quick flip, take and get rental reporting accounts. And a lot of them, it can backdate. So what that do is balance out that late payment. You can add on positive payments. You know how people say you can't change the past? Maybe in this case, you can move it around. So for that late payment, let me add on some more positive payments. And this can balance me out. We can backdate it. You can do that with rent report accounts, those like Rental Kharma. They can backdate it all the way. That's Boom. Well, let's leave Boom there. Now, Rental Kharma, it can go back 2 years, right? No, Rental Kharma can go back as long as you live in that unit. So they can go back 20 and 30 years. If you lived in that unit consistently, okay, they can backdate it for you. So they'll work it. Now, your other option is Boom here. Boom can backdate 2 years, up to 24 months, backdate, and both of them do ongoing payments. Now, Rental Kharma is the best if you have long payment history in a unit. Okay, you've been there, you like, hey, I lived in my place for 10 years. Rental Kharma might be your best option. The only downfall with Rental Kharma, they only report to TransUnion and Equifax right now. So you're only going to hit 2 bureaus. Now with Boom, it might not go that far back, but Boom report to all three. You get me? It reports to all three. The only other downfall with Boom here, you had to make those payments out of the same bank account. So some people don't have that. All your payments had to come from one bank account. So even if you was writing checks, it had to come from that one bank account, because they're going to use AI and it's going to tap into all those payment histories from that account. If you don't have that situation, you go to Rental Karma. They can kind of vet out for you. Now, unlike Boom, Rental Karma is good because they can report for you Rental Karma in 3 days. That's the great part about Rental Karma. You can take this down, Diamond. Rental Karma in 3 days. They can report for you. So they can do it. Boom, it's going to take 30 days. So the way you want to look at this in your strategy, if you are applying, let's use the truest thing. I'm trying to get a business credit card or a credit card from Truist. Rental Karma is going to work fine because Truist pull from Equifax. If you're saying, "Hey, I'm trying to get something from American Express. I'm already a customer and I need to boost that up." If you're already in American Express, they're going to pull for TransUnion. Rental Karma is going to work for you. But if you're going to Chase, most of the times I've seen Chase pull from Experian. So Boom is going to be probably your better option. Okay. So I hope I ain't getting too deep, but I'm just trying to give you the way to look at on how you would make that decision for yourself. If you're going for a home loan is pulling for all three. Boom. Okay. Go with the Boom because it's going to pull all three of them. You can't skip around. If you're going for Capital One, Boom, Capital One, pull all three. That's why I can't stand them. So I'm just giving y'all a ways to make that decision. The other way, you can add on positive payments to help bring up that score. You can piggyback, authorized user. So that can also add on those positive payments for you to increase that credit score, and it's going to help your utilization. Okay. It's going to help both. So that's one of the good options. So you can kill two birds with one stone. The only part you just got to know, if you're piggybacking, if they got a late payment on that account, it will come on you. Okay. So be aware, if they got real high utilization and it's not under control, it'll tank you. So you just got to know that. So you got to make sure you know that person, because not everybody going to tell you all their business. Now, if it's a parent, if it's a spouse, somebody that you have a level of intimate relationship that will be transparent, just make sure you know that, because you're going to be big mad if they ask you one and you get 2 or 3 late payments. And some of y'all, even from years ago, it's going to be a problem, and it's going to really hurt you, because I'd be mad. You be mad. You be like, what? Oh my God. And so just know that. But that is another option. Okay. Now, with that authorized user, is not going to work if that person got a new credit card. So if your wife or your spouse just got a credit card the other day and say, "Hey, babe, you want me to make you an authorized user?" And you say, "Yeah, I just heard Sherry say that would help my credit score." It would help for your utilization, but remember, it's a new account, so it won't help with the back payment history, because it ain't no payment history on that account. Okay. So don't say I ain't tell you. All right. So we got that covered. That right there can get you the rest of those points if you're lacking using those strategies. You also can use for your utilization, you guys. I don't have that authorized user, I'm having problems. If you got a utilization problem, see if you can ask your current credit card companies if they can increase your credit line, because that can help with that utilization problem. Okay, so that's an option. And then the other thing that you could do is make sure that you know the bank rules. If that bank is Discover, you can do it in the app. with a soft pull pre-approval. You want to make sure it's soft pull, okay? You don't want it to be a hard pull to see if you can get that boost. So Discover, you can also look at Navy Federal. If you do it in the app, it's soft pull. But if you call up, it could be a hard inquiry, okay? So make sure you just know the rules. American Express, soft pull, Chase soft pull, I'm not sure about Citibank. Do anybody know if it's a soft pull in Citibank? I have a Citibank card, but I didn't ask for an increase. So just, and I think Synchrony, a lot of y'all might have Synchrony. They might be a hard pull. Call in and find out. So you can ask them to increase your lines of existing credit. That will be a good way to go. So you don't get a hard inquiry trying to get another credit card line. Okay. So that's an option. And also the last way, what I tell y'all, if you under a 700 credit score, you can always add on a new credit card line. Okay. Now, the reason why I say I'll add that last, because that might not report in that 30 that 14-day window. Now, some cards you can in 10 days, and that's that credit builder card. That can. I think I'll leave the link for that. The credit builder card, it can report in like 10 days before it gets to you. But that it might not, it's a secured card. If you got premium credit, you might not want to go that route. And when I say premium credit, that's over a 700 credit score. You might not want to go that route. If you got subprime credit, meaning under a 620, that can work. Okay. That might just help you get you to where you're going. All right. So that one report fast. And Ava, it will report within 7 days. Ava, that's the option. Going back to what I said, if you're under a 700 credit score or under subprime, I want to say 620, Ava could be an option. But if y'all at 680, I probably wouldn't add on that. Just, try to get a better look. Okay. So that's it. Diamond, see if anybody have questions. I know it was a lot, but hit the replay. And somebody says Citibank is not soft. So abandon Citibank. So no, Citibank is not soft.
Someone said I stand corrected. Citibank is a soft pull.
Citibank is soft. Thank you so much, y'all, for the feedback, because I do have a Citibank card, but I never asked for an increase with them. I just started a relationship with Citibank, so I'm not quite sure. I just had to get them in my fold. And that's another thing, y'all. I know it sounds crazy, but don't be limited. I know I might sound manic because I was like, I had to get into Citibank. You want to build relationships with multiple banks if it's all possible. And the reason why, I think all of us, if we're at a particular age, it really hurts your feelings if you've been banking with somebody. Bank of America did that to me and shut down a card. Y'all remember? They did that to me back in 2012. And my heart was broken because that was like basically my only relationship in my credit card. It's like when a man or a woman break up with you and you ain't got no other options because you've been exclusive. Don't do that. You dating, okay? You want to keep some options on the table. That's how you want to do your banking relationships, okay? You need to keep your options on the table, because if Bank of America did you like they did me in 2012, I was sad. I had no other options. And now that they cut your credit line, what do Sherry always tell y'all? Banks only trust you as far as the last bank trusts you. So now, since they broke up with you and they threw you away and you had a $10,000 credit card, they done dropped you down to $2,000. Now the other bank think that you about 2,000 worth of dating. You know what I'm saying? So now you want to have multiple. relationships. Did I forgive Bank of America? Oh, I'm with them. I still got a relationship with them, but they're not my only. And that's how you want to do your banking. Okay. Nobody should be your only. All right. What you can do and how you can hustle and hack. Diamond to tell you, she got an account. My mama, PNC, put me on that account. Put me on that card. So one of your strategies on piggybacking sometimes is to build a relationship. Okay. But I know it's deep and you got to be trustworthy. I'll get somebody to throw me on the account. Now, can everybody be trust like that? Now, you know everybody can't. But if you are good character, this is why we gotta deal with us. We gotta prove ourselves of good character. My brother, deceased brother Larry, used to tell me, Sherry, because I was like, man, someone so calling me. And he was like, you know what, Sherry? If you want a friend, you got to be a friend. Sometimes y'all got to be a friend. Okay. If you want people to be friendly with you, you can't be doing people all kind of ways. But that is a strategy.
And I have a personal question for you,
Go
Mom. When building relationships for banks, so let's say if you're trying to build relationships, let's say Chase or American Express, like some of the heavy hitters, and you're not able to get approved for a credit line, does it help to get let's say a debit card with them, a savings account with them to help build that relationship?
That's what you want to do. Or if it's better, and I know this is a little out, what's better, take my father. He been banking with Wells Fargo. I never had the door to that relationship. I don't know why I never went over there, but I'll have him to throw me on his account because what it is, if it's somebody that have high really savings and got a lot of money in that relationship, if you can get on that account, oh baby, the bank look at you a little different. So if you're talking about ultimate strategy, that's what you want to do. Now, did you have to put no money up? You could be broke. You know what I'm saying? That's them, but you're working together, leveraging their also account balances because the bank judge you by your balance. Okay. They judge you on your maintained balance. So all my business credit people, I tell you, don't let that business account, if you can, when you're banking, drop under $5,000. You want to keep certain balances, and banks look at you different. But like you said, Diamond, if not, you can establish with Chase. I like how you did that. Chase has a secured card. It's called the Chase Arise. It's for subprime credit. And if you open a bank account with them and then wait like 48 hours and go for that secure credit card, now you need to have over at least that 250 amount in that bank account. So I would put, if I can, $300 to $500. If my funds is strapped, then you do that secured card, and you can start a relationship with Chase. Okay. And that's a good point because Chase is very prime. Okay. They don't really deal in the subprime. That they're harder than American Express. So that can be the way that you go in the door. Now with the Chase Arise, they're not for really credit. What is that? It's not for rebuilding. Okay. It's really not a rebuild. It's a credit builder, kind of. Is if you already had a trouble past, Chase ain't really kind of with that. So you gotta know that even with that Arise, it's like you, Diamond, or my daughter Faith, who, if you got people in college just starting out with lower credit scores, that's pretty much who they're looking for. So just to give you a heads up. But like you said, opening accounts, that could be a way for you to also get a banking relationship. So that was a good question. are a good segue. So you want to use those strategies too. That's a way. You might not have a credit card, but having an account is a way, or some kind of service that they have, that can be a way also to build a relationship. Diamond, you want to look at some questions? And I know we went long.
I just want to shout out everyone. We do see all of your comments. I'm going to start off.
Somebody said Chase Ride, it can convert to an unsecured, but they got a secured too. A secured card, Chase Rise.
Yeah.
So, and they can convert it. So look at it. They do have a secured version. So if you got lower credit scores, and they'll convert that card.
So I'm going to just answer the question, try to have a little bit more organization when answering questions. So I'm just going to go through the recent ones, and then I do see the ones from old, and we will go back to those as well. So someone said, I have a late pay that is about 18 months. One company is reporting 90 days late, while the other company is reporting 30 days old. How can I dispute this?
What you would dispute that, whatever bureau is actually saying that it is 90 days late, and the one that's saying 30 in that letter, I would say, Equifax is reporting 30 days late, but TransUnion is saying 90 days late, and say Experian saying on time. That's how it would structure that, is on time. This reporting of being, or I was never late, and this reporting is inaccurate or inconsistent. So it needs to be deleted. So that's how you would structure that to dispute that. Now, if that's actually true, you could include that copy of that credit reporting that shows that it was on time. You got what I'm saying? Or how it's inconsistent. I went and showed them the 90-day, I'll put it down, but if it's on time, I'll show them where the one bureau have on time. So if you want to take a screenshot, print it out, add it with that dispute, that's how I would do that. Now, like I said, with the elite credit system, it'll pick up all of that and it'll write it for you. But if you're doing it yourself, that's how I'll go about doing it.
Okay, so we have another comment. Someone said you should have a discussion about the difference between FICO scores and Vantage scores. Can you quickly address that?
FICO score, so it's just like what we will say Apple and also Windows. Okay, so these are whole different kind of models. They're both in the technology of building computers or running systems, where Microsoft got Windows and Apple have what, ISO or Macintosh. That's how they run. They both do the same functions, but they operate slightly different. That's how Vantage and FICO run. They are both scoring systems, but they operate slightly differently. So a FICO score, their models, each category, like let's say payment history, 35%, utilization, 30%. All those categories I discussed, age of credit, it's about 35%. But in certain categories with Vantage, they deduct more points for certain items. So in the Vantage, say you had a late payment on your mortgage account, Vantage deduct more points for a mortgage payment. It'll deduct more. Where FICO will read it just like any other late payment. All right. So it's the way they kind of judge certain points for that. So the best way I'll use it, if you a male, NBA versus college basketball, NBA, hand checking, it's certain things, it's certain plays that you can run. You can't play zone in the NBA, but over there in college, you can run zone. Okay, so it's the same thing. It's how they operate and score different points, but it's the same. It's a different kind of system. So how they judge things is differently. Now, Vantage scores, Vantage 4.0, and then you have FICO have different models. So what the real key is, you want to look at the lender with who you go into and figure out which Vantage or FICO they're using and what scoring model. So each one of these have different models. So it's like your Apple. I think this is a 17. Where we at? Apple 11? I don't know. It's the newer one, I think. But y'all know how it's Apple generation 11 model ISO, and it's the iPhone what 12. I don't know where the heck are. You can barely keep up with the model of it. Each year they upgrade the model. So is the scoring systems with FICO and Vantage. You got a Vantage 3.0. Now you got Vantage 4.0. You got a FICO 2, 4, 5, FICO 8, which is the most used, FICO 9, FICO 10T. So they update the models. And so you got to know what bank is using the model. It's crazy. What bank is using the model and what scoring model they're using, because different scoring models judge points differently. So if you're going for a mortgage, they're going to use most of the times if you're going with VA loan, FHA loan, they might use a Equifax Beacon scoring model 5. It's an older model because when Congress and the government approved that, because those are government loans, it was back in the day, maybe like 10 or 20 years ago. So a lot of times they don't want to change that up because of the government underwriting and standards. So mortgage scores is going to be those older models. So a lot of y'all would say, I went for a house and they said my credit score was low, a 620. I can see on Experian I'm at a 680 because that's a 8, FICO score 8. And then mortgage scores is a little different too. So the older scoring models, they might the points that they deduct, it operates a little different with the older models. So yeah, that's how it is. So you got to do your research on what model they're using and what bureau they're pulling from. So that's where a lot of your approvals is. So it might be, I know it's complex. Could be a FICO 8 scoring model for TransUnion. You see what I mean? So you want to look at, if I'm going to American Express, it's going to be a FICO 8. Okay, so I got to see how that model with TransUnion. So you need to look at TransUnion FICO 8 credit scores. Y'all get that? That's how it go. Navy Fed, why everybody love Navy Fed, they're going to use a FICO 9 scoring model, which if you got medical debts, they don't take that into consideration. That's why where FICO 8 do, it look at medical debts, all those collections. FICO 9 don't look at that. And they're going to use FICO 9. They're using TransUnion now. They used to use for credit cards, they used to use Equifax. But if you get in the business side, they're going to use Experian 9. So you need to look at your Experian 9 credit scores. So it depends. That's how you want to look at it. So you got to know the scoring model. You got to know what bureau they're pulling. And I think that just about cover it. Yeah, that's how they do. And no, they use FICO 9. Yeah, Experian. but they're going to pull with the Experian. They're going to look at your personal FICO 9, and they're going to look at your Experian business credit scores. So that's another thing. If you got business, whole different credit scores, whole different way they work. So, but they will pull your business Experian. With your business credit scores, everybody say Dun and Bradstreet. It's rarely that they're going to use your Dun and Brad when it comes to banking. It's going to be Equifax business and Experian business, mostly for those credit cards. Dun and Bradstreet only come in for those, like those net 30s everybody tell you to run and get that you don't need to. It's only about 3 banks if you rock with. You don't even have to do all that. But that's another day, another subject. But it's on the scoring models. So there are business credit scores, and they are personal credit scores, and then you have FICO and this. So to simplify it, before you guys are going for an auto loan, car loan, whatever the banking institution is, look up who they're pulling from. So Bank of America, they're going to use TransUnion, FICO 8. Okay. So now if you're looking at auto, TransUnion, FICO 8. But there are some, like Navy Federal may use, sometimes they did for the car loan TransUnion for me, but sometimes they were using Equifax for car loans, and with the credit cards they went over to TransUnion. But now all of them, they're using TransUnion. But on the business side, they're going to use Experian. So hopefully that answered your question. That's the difference.
We have a question from AJ. I have a 630 and I want to be at 700. I am about to speak to a lender for my first home. Should I add a trade line? I had one negative item removed, awaiting the rest.
What you need to do is find out why you're at 630. That's what and why you're not at 700. So adding the trade line wouldn't help if the reason why you're at the 630 is if one of your credit cards are close to being maxed out. Like I said, if one of them in particularly is at 70%, then no, you shouldn't get another trade line. You need to pay down that credit card. So that's why I said you want to also find out, when I started, why is your credit score where you lacking points at? So that's where you want to start. You start there. What do I have? What's going on wrong? Why am I here? And that's when you want to add the strategy to fix that. You see what I mean? To get to the 700. So I'm just giving that example. So it might not always be a trade line. You just might need to pay down a credit card. That a lot of time, if it's, you look at your credit card balances, that's where I would start. Because if it's 630, it's something going on there. So find out what's wrong, and that's how you're going to know how to fix it. So if you replay this back, you'll find the answer in that. But you got to find out what's wrong to apply the information I gave you. And there you go. He said, yeah, one is at 7. See, and I know that right there, something wrong there. So the one that's close to 70%, you need to pay that down. That's your problem. That's your problem.
Okay, so I got a question. Since Discover is Capital One and you're on max 5 credit cards with them, will your Discover cards get closed if you are maxed out either Capital One?
Yeah, it can. And let me just add for the other gentleman, also, bro, AJ, you're going for a home loan. Don't do the piggybacking unless it's with a spouse, a wife, or something like that. Don't do that, because for mortgage, if that person isn't your spouse, a lot of times they'll make you come off of that piggyback. They don't allow, they used to do that back in the day. They don't do that no more. So if it's your parent or whatever, they're going to pull that, and it could be a hard pull, and they see that and make you come off and then pull you again. So you could lose more points if I didn't tell you that fact. So watch if you're piggybacking, okay? Because they're gonna make you come off if it's not your spouse. So don't use the piggybacking for that. All right. Somebody said, I got a question. Discover is Capital One. And on your 5 maxed out cards with them, will Discover get closed if you're either well with that, y'all ever see those soft inquiries on your credit reports? It just say so and so check, or you might see a hard inquiry and it's your bank that you're currently with. That's them checking to see if you were late on another card or if you're maxed out on another card. So yeah, any cards being maxed out, your other banks can close out your accounts. Any time you was late on another account, your other banks can shut down your accounts. Okay? So they pull it, they check it annually to see where you messing up at. So anytime that you're close to being maxed out, like that 70%, if you're over maxed out on one card for a long time and you get caught up, it could cause a lot of your credit lines to get shut down. Yeah. American Express is good for that. They're pretty much dang on known for doing that. And Synchrony, y'all know Synchrony will do that with you quick, fast, in a hurry, especially like Care Credit or whatever. They'll do that. So yeah, that's it.
We have a question from Steven. He said, can you talk about when car dealerships run your credit multiple times? I'm guessing he's talking about hard inquiries.
They shotgun you could dispute those inquiries that you don't know where they came from, because if it's not the dealership, I don't know who these people are. And for y'all to prevent this, because this really tears down people's credit. I have seen one person, like the max I seen with this had 93. I was like, what in the world? Hard inquiries. Because some of those dealers you go to, and y'all experience that, one dealer pull like 22, like all three. You're like, dang, where you get? Because they just shotgun your stuff. And then you go somewhere else. And if you don't know that's what they're doing, it'd be too late when you find out. So one of the things you guys need to do, and I think I discussed that in my car video, please go watch that. You need to secure your financing before you get that car. You don't go to a dealership and let them pull anything. Go and I'm going to drop that with my car video on how to buy any car you want. Y'all give you lenders and all of that. That's a whole different strategy and game. But rule number one, you bring your own financing to the dealership, and you ain't got none of that. You can go to Capital One and get a pre-approval. Who else? Don't do Navy Fed. Everybody talk about Navy Fed. They hard pull to pre-approve you. Chase, you can get a loan through Chase if you're a customer for a car. Who else? Pre-approval. PenFed. They go up to 150,000. They could pre-approve you. $5. You can get in with them. And I got another list. I broke down a couple of them with 0% interest too, and no money down. Y'all gotta go see that video. But that's how you avoid that. That's a rule of thumb, y'all.
I was about to say, you told that with me. Remember that one time I got they pulled it like 20 something times. And then I got my car now pre-approved with Navy Fed, and that also tell you how much you could afford in a car. So like if it was a car that I was like, that's a little out the budget, this is how much they approved me for, and that's about it. And you know already what your car payments are gonna look like before. So
and here's another thing with that Navy Federal. That everybody be like, Navy Fed. If you self-employed, Navy Fed is not where you go. Child, don't go to Navy Fed. They don't like self-employed. You need to set up right. Yeah, if you go on the Navy Fed, they do not. You put down self-employed for credit cards or whatever, credit card increase. When they say, I'm self-employed. Child, Navy Fed don't like that at all. They don't like that. So certain banks don't like certain things, and a lot of them don't like self-employed. So you should like a lot of y'all need to leverage ADP. If you are self-employed, get an LLC, get ADP, pay your company and pay yourself through ADP. Go on and pay your little taxes and get you a pay stub. See, I get mad game. That right there should be enough for y'all. If y'all not signing up, drop the link. That right there, I just gave y'all really game. But the game is sold and not told. I'm gonna pull up because I'm really telling you what y'all need to do, and you really need to play. Erica Badu had a song called Both Sides of the Game. I'm trying to give you the both sides of the game. But if you're self-employed, you need to go on to ADP. $35. Pay yourself every 2 weeks. You can then give yourself a raise. Hey, I'm about to go for a home loan. You know what, Sherry? You deserve a raise. For the next 90 days, you deserve a raise. If I need to qualify something, my God, the business is not doing well, Sherry. We got to decrease we got to do a pay decrease for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then, boom, I might need to qualify for some state aid. And I got to see, y'all got to know how to play one. That's it. I'm done. But if you're not doing that, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. Those tax us no child, yes, it is no joke. My God. Somebody said they using ADP now, and them taxes is no joke. But you know what? It's better to pay them taxes than them. You already know in California and certain states, you'll want to see them at the end of the year because then they want that payment all up front. And you know who don't play is 3 people, the I, the R, and the S. So I find go on and let them get their little change up front, and then you ain't got to pay them at the end because that tax penalty, child, is worse than a credit card. Somebody said I dispute negative items on my credit profiles in 2021, and my scores went up from 680 to 620. I disputed negative items on my credit profile in December 01, 2025. I didn't get the same results. Why? The reason why, because I don't know what you disputed. So you're just saying I disputed, but what is really wrong? What was wrong in 2021 might not be the same thing that you got going on in December. So disputing might not be the answer. It might have been the answer, whatever the problem you was. So I'm going to assume it was a negative item that you had in 2021. It got removed and you saw your score go up. But just like I gave the other gentleman, what could be going on in December might be your utilization. That's why I said, y'all got to know what is wrong. You know, that's where you got to start. All thy getting, get some understanding. That's Proverbs. Yes, understand what's going on, because that's what people are saying. My cousin worked with somebody and they score went way up. They worked with the guy in 3 months. But your cousin issue might be totally different. What your issue is. I'll see some people, they, might have filed for bankruptcy. So their strategy might be different and the results may vary. So it's the same thing with your own thing. It might be something different that you had going on prior to. So let me know what negative items you got going on now and what you had then. And if you just got here, go back to the beginning of my video and I gave y'all gold. It could be something is dinging you every month. And I broke that down earlier and I showed you what to look for. And that could be what it is. It might be a negative item on your credit report, like a charge off or a collection, and it's hitting you with a C every month. And that could be it. Yeah. So if you want to see what to look for, rewind this back, and then I show you what to look for those negative accounts. See if it's reporting like that. So, all right. Well, we're going to take one or two last questions. Then we're going to go down. I know we've been here for a minute. And so I'm just going to, we'll add, okay, this one last question. You said I have over 30 credit cards. However, I'm only at 5% utilization total, with the exception of 2 cards. There you go. Maxed out. They exception of 2 cards are maxed out. They have 0 balance transfer promotion on them. Is that her? If you got any cards maxed out, that's tanking your credit score. That anything, like I told that one gentleman, if it's over one particular card, over 70%, you're losing. You can see your score tank. I guarantee you, you get too many of them cards over that 30 or 40% mark, child, it start to get bad. You'll notice like, wait, what, hold on, what happened to my score? Oh, another thing too, you got 30 cards. When you got a lot of cards, they actually deduct points if you got too many balances on those cards too. That's another one. So say out of the 30, if all of them are being used and one of them just got $5 and this one, they don't like if you got too many cards, got too many balances. You're better off with like kind of using 2 cards only. Don't ask me why they're doing that. So I have seen it. I have seen what happened to myself. I had like card utilization at 10%, and it was my Capital One card, because I might Capital One, I keep a Netflix account. I really don't rock with them like that. I'll keep that active, but I think I had used it and it carried over a balance, like I'm paying it off before it show up. And I don't know, either an annual fee I have on that card because it's an older card came and I had to have it set, and the annual fee rolled over. Yo, they hit my points like, oh, you haven't used this card in a while. Drop my drink. I said, are you serious? Now they don't like that. They like too many, even if you ain't used the card in a while. If you then it show up with a balance, you know, now they penalize you for that. I'm like, what? Or they'll tell you if you got too many cards, say you got 6 cards and all of them are carrying various balances and they're really low, they still don't like that. Put all of that on, like, say this, you got 6 cards and they all carrying $20. You know they would drop your score for that. They'll drop your score. Put all of those balances of that $20 limited to 2 cards. Yeah, they be wilding. But yeah, that's probably what's going on with you. Yeah, check you want to limit that down. And then like 30 cards, after a while, that it'd be too much. Sometimes it'd be too much sometime. You would have been the candidate a long time ago, should have went to business credit at that point. Yeah, with 30 cards, you don't want to do too much. Yeah, like 6, I seen 20, but it's you don't want to carry too much too, because then they don't like too much credit. They weird. And it depends on the card carrier. Some of them don't like too many, like, oh, you got too many accounts open. It just depends on who it is. Yeah, and she said it's a lot to manage. It's a lot to, you know what you can do though, little this and that. See if you can actually combine some of those cards, or you can migrate a card line. If it's like a American Express, Sometimes you can shut a product down and move that line of credit. So say you got a $4,000 American Express card and it's a revolving, not a charge card. It's a revolving card. It's 4,000, but you have one, let's say that's 10,000. And that 4,000 is empty. Sometimes they'll let you go ahead and move that line over to the 10,000 to make it 14. People use that strategy because many card companies might not have a limit. So most of the time, American Express will only let you have 4 revolving credit cards. That's on your personal and business side. So I tell my people, you want to kind of reserve that revolving to the business side because you get bigger lines of credit. That's another key too, y'all. Y'all do know business lines of credit, most of the times you're going to get larger lines than personal lines. That's why, and it don't show up on your credit report. And you get to project your income. So unlike when you do that personal application and you say, hey, I make annually 60,000 a year, when you go for the business credit card, I am going to be in lawn care services, and in my area, they make on average 200,000 a year. So I project that. And so they judge your card off of that. Generally about 8% to 15%. That's going to be your number of the 200,000. Unlike your personal, you can't project. It got to be on what you see. That's why I said you want to be on the business side. So that's a tip for you. Look at those companies that you got. See if you can add those, migrate that credit line over to another card. People do that. A lot of times they'll shut a card down because if it's a limit on how many cards you can have, like Navy Federal, they don't do that. But I'm just giving you, they only do that, Navy Federal, if you're trying to do a balance transfer. And generally, you don't have enough space on that card that you got to balance transfer. And it's generally in the first 90 days that they'll move it over. But in the Navy Federal case, if you do it on that way, Navy Federal only allow you to have 3 credit cards. And so if I got one for 4,000, but this one got 20,000 and 30, I might want to move this over here now to these cards and put it over here so I can get another card. And I just put that credit line over there. But like I said, in the case of Navy Federal, they only allow you to do that in that first 90 days. And it's got to be for a balance transfer if you don't have enough room. So hopefully that will help. I know that's real technical, but if y'all got personal questions and y'all need help and y'all got all these nuances, join the Elite Credit System, and then we can help you on a personal level. Because if you go back and watch this, as like I said, a lot of y'all, when you gave me the question, I pretty can gauge it with, with what you're telling me, little hints. I do this so much with so many people. I kind of pretty much can kind of diagnose, and it's because of practice, just looking at different various situations. But what it's going to be, a lot of this stuff, I can give you general knowledge, but some of it, I got to look at it. And I'll leave you with one last example that y'all got to look out for. It was a particular gentleman saying, like with her, some of her cards is at 0 and all of his cards was at 0. All of this man cards was out at 0. He's like, my score dropped. I can't figure it out. All my cards is at 0. It's like, but he was still overall had 10% utilization. He like, I don't get it. Or it might have been 5%. It was mad low and his score dropped. So we looked through it and I said, boom, this your problem. Watch out for this. When y'all go to furniture stores like Ashley, anything to finance furniture, Back in the day, it used to be an installment loan. It used to be like an installment, like a car. It'll be like a loan. They not doing that no more. Now they're doing credit lines, credit card lines. And it happened to me at the furniture store. Y'all might have heard that. I went there. I was like, I'm going to get a credit line. They gave me like $4,000 for what I wanted to get. I said, okay, 0% interest for the next 24 months. I said, yeah, let's do it. Then what it was, they was like, yeah, we could get all of this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put the whole 4,000. I'm thinking it's going to be an installment loan. And then she said something. She's like, yeah, it's going to be with, I forgot. She was saying a certain company. And I looked at it. I said, is this a credit card line? And she said, yeah, it's a credit card line. I said, hold on. You was about to max out that card and tank my credit score. And she was like, what? Even the finance department. I said, it would have been like me maxing out a credit card and my account would have dropped. And the God honest truth, they've been doing that such a long time. They didn't even know. So don't assume even your banker, they don't be knowing. They do not know. I'll be honest, a lot of these people are just doing products. And she said, oh my God, I didn't know that. She said, let me go with this other one. And so she just ran it through Wells Fargo. It doubled the credit line for $8,000. And I said, well, I don't even want to run it at 50%. Let me just put the money down over here and finance that. And it was that easy. That was his problem. He had just got furniture, got that line, and he had no idea it was a credit card line. Because if y'all like in my 40s like me, y'all remember back in the day, it was never a credit card line. It was always an installment loan. Y'all know that. Like, it was like a monthly payment. But they done switched up. It's a credit card line. So if you put all that furniture, because you thinking it's an installment loan, that's what they did to him. Maxed it out. And that's what I keep telling you. You go over that 70%, but even on one line, your joint drop. And you'll be like, I don't get it. My overall utilization is mad low. It's because that one card is close or maxed out, and you won't figure it out. And that's what, and I said, this is your problem. I said, you got furniture, didn't you? He was like, yeah. And he saw the account, but he realized, or it didn't calculate for him, it's a revolving credit card. And that was his problem. And score, he was like, what? I would have paid. And that's just a word of wise for all of y'all. So that's why I said I can give you examples just with my experience when y'all shoot me the questions, like the gentleman I'm at 6:30 that I already know that, or the young lady that said, hey, prior to I was the dispute. I do it so much. I already know the right questions to ask. So even with this information, you always, why the system is good, you get to ask the direct questions, or I can see what's going on with you. So if I can cook going blind, and I'll tell y'all, like, I'm looking, imagine what I could do with you looking at it. I'm done. I'll drop the mic there. That's all I'm just saying. If I could really look at it and strategize, this y'all just shooting stuff at me. You see what I'm saying? I'll be like, hey, here's your problem. Hey, yeah, that is. You right about that. Imagine what I can do for you if I can see what's really going on. Then the whole world open up of options. So that's where we'll land there. All right, Diamond. Your
All right, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining in. As always, we'll be back next Saturday. So have your questions ready. Join the Elite Credit System. And if you want to reach out to us, you can go to sherrybeckley.com and send us a message.
And everyone, thank y'all for joining me. I'm sorry once again, we started off late. I really, really appreciate y'all hanging in. And Sergeant King, and you said that, you said, and the furniture don't tell you this up front about the credit line. No. And I'll be honest, y'all, that's what it is. Like I said, they don't know. Don't assume, or you'll be jacked up. That's why if I land on this with this credit stuff, it's important you know yourself. Don't assume that they know. And like that woman really didn't mean me any harm whatsoever, or the financing. They don't really know. So that's why it's good for you to know. I have sat down with attorneys, like your bankruptcy attorney. A lot of people be upset. He never even told me. He said this would be good for my credit. They really don't know about credit. They know about the law. So they're trying to stop you from being garnished or that. So they're using that. So not everybody is trying to burn you. They might not know, but there are some people really trying to burn you. In order for you to know who's doing what, you have to have the knowledge yourself. You have to have the understanding, and then you can judge. Because some people, I'll be honest with you, I sat down at PNC Bank and I'm asking them, so do y'all report to all three of the business credit bureaus with this card? I they was the business credit manager. I really don't know. I said, from my knowledge, y'all only report to the small business financial exchange. And you know what? You're right. I think we do. And guess what? And yeah, that is the only business credit bureau we report to. That's not a business credit bureau. Honestly, it's not. People say that American Express report to them. It's really a kind of supposed to be like a nonprofit, but that information filter over to those Experian, Equifax, and Dun and Bradstreet. But you can't even get access to the small business financial exchange. So that's why I'm telling y'all, if you're building business credit, believe it or not, American Express is in the best place to start. That's why I say it's levels to this. Some people tell you Navy Fed. Navy Fed is in the best place to start for business credit. That ain't where you want to go if you're building business credit. Now, if you need to get some lending off the books because you need funding that you don't want to show up on your business credit report, then Navy Federal is the place to go, because they don't even report to the business credit bureaus. Now, the downside with that, if your agenda as a business owner was to build your business credit to go get lending, and you've been working with Navy Federal all these years, you don't even have a real credit report. You've been banking there all those years, and on that business side, it did nothing for you. And you're like, I've been paying off loans. I don't understand this, because that's not the strategy. So when I tell you it's levels to everything, it's all depending. This is why the coaching or accent, we and Diamond we'll work together at times. Hold on, what is your agenda? So Miss Miller, husband, do you mind, Miss Miller, if he's in construction. I don't think she minds that if I say he's in construction. So with him, Navy Federal, if he need capital to do construction, is perfect for him, because he want funding. He might be building business credit somewhere else, and I need to borrow off the books to flip something. In her case, with her husband, Navy Federal will be the right option, because he's not trying to get credit building. He's trying to get funding. So you get what I'm saying? But if you're a new person, you're starting off your business and you like, Sherry, I need to show up. I want to get lending. I want to get access to my business. I want to build a business credit profile with all three, because a lot of y'all say Dun and Bradstreet. I got my Dun and Brad. I got my Dun and Brad. Dun and Brad ain't, if you want to pull up to the banks, ain't where you need to be. That if you want to go to Chase and go over here to these banks, Dun and Brad really is not really, it's pretty much non-existent. You're pulling and you starting off at the wrong place. That ain't what you want to do. And Navy Fed ain't what you want to be, because your strategy is to build credit, not really for funding, just like I'm a stat, and so I can get access. So I'm just telling y'all, this is why the consulting good to look at your situation and what you got going on, because that's what I'm telling you. We're strategizing. So it's not a one size fit all. I'm listening over here, this guy say that. For what y'all got in this session, I doubt, I know darn well all in one sitting you ain't get all of this from one person. I'm just going to tell you that. I know they ain't go through personal credit, business credit. Hey, what's going on with your credit? If they did, if you did get this experience, please send me the video because I want to hear what they said then. But I know good and darn well, because it's not everybody have that level of understanding. Is it some guys on that business side? I will not play with you. If they on that business side, a lot of them, they know what they talking about. A lot of them, but I would have to hear them. A lot of them. Some of them, yeah, I had to hear it, but a lot of them do. Don't play with them now. Some of them, a lot of people be like influencers, be yitting people. Oh, heck to the no. Some of them spit in real game. The problem is you don't have enough knowledge to know who's who. That's what it is. And nobody say you ain't got to know it all. You ain't got to know it all. Trust me. You just need to know enough to know who lying to you. Y'all got that? That's all. I ain't got to know it all. I just got to know enough to know who lying to me. Okay? That's all I ask for y'all to do, because there's no way you can be the best in everything. That is no way. You just need to know how to hire the right people. You just need enough information to know, you know what, that person know what they talking about. I know that I know enough about the process to know that's the one I should choose. So that's all I'm saying. Everybody on YouTube is not all good, and they sure ain't all bad. There's some people out there really rocking, and they're probably, actually, let me tell you something. The ones that's really good ain't getting the views. I can tell you, the ones that's really good, they ain't getting the views. And let me shout out one of them. If y'all, I gotta shout them out because they just be giving so much game. I gotta do it. Houston, if y'all watch him, Houston, y'all go pull up to that man. That man, Houston, three-way funding, write it down. That man know what he be talking about. Now, he the one, he don't be getting them views. That man know what he talking about. He's a monster. Tell him I sent you and tell him I said salute to him. That man's a monster. He's undervalued. Tell him if y'all know him, tell him I pulled up on, he one of the ones, okay? He fire, okay? Go that way. I ain't never no hater. The credit plug, he be rocking. I can't hate on him. Credit plug he be breaking down the game. I ain't gonna lie to you. He is. I can never hate on somebody who's putting out the game. He is. 850 credit. He be putting out the game. But on that business, Houston, and all the other ones I named, they get views. But Houston is so underrated. My God, that man over there, pull up to him. Salute to him. So that's all I'm just saying, y'all. But y'all might not know it because y'all don't know what to hear. And maybe they style on how they deliver the message. You don't know that somebody just dropping bars. I'm like, yo, somebody sent me. This dude drop bar and he be dropping bars like matter of fact. Like, you know what? Matter of fact, yeah, what you do? He be, listen, I can never hate. Support that brother. Support him. He's one of the truth. I think he's might have one been since I ran out. I would never want to disrespect somebody. He's one of the one. I don't know. That man underrated right there. I don't know about everybody else because I don't want to be biased, or I'm not sure I ran across everybody, but him, that man right there. Yep. He's dropping bars. So I mean, just matter of fact, I'm like, dang, he just giving away game. But a lot of people, since y'all, if people don't have a high tolerance and they need everything kind of, that's why y'all see my videos. I gotta do it down to 8 minutes because people been on TikTok too much. And if you don't deliver the message in 2 seconds, their attention span gone. They gone. But I'll just land there. Shout out to Houston. If y'all pull up to his stuff, tell him Sherry sent you. And I said, salute. He be dropping mad game. So check him out. All right, everybody. I know I said a lot. I always do. But thank y'all for joining me. And shout out to him. All right, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
Again.